working from home for a week. And like you said, there's a company here. I'll give you an example. They are one of the more successful marketing companies that market to a specific industry. They have a bunch of people that work downtown, and now all those people are working separated at home. So what we're dealing with now is, whereas I've been accustomed to meeting people, working with people, hanging out for 40 hours a week, I'm now at home. Some of us have kids. We're not in our ideal work environment, a little stressful, and there's disconnection. The managers don't really have a sense of what's happening, and obviously people are not as buying as much. So there's more stress, there's disconnection. And so what you want to do to combat that is, now more than ever, if you're the business leader in your organization, you have got to make a concerted effort to connect with people, just to connect with them. I'm talking about going over and beyond. Where are you at on your goals? Where are you at on your tasks? Where are you at on you've got to make a concerted effort to keep that corporate culture. Every organization has a culture, whether or not you're aware of it or not. And now is more than ever, you have to reach out and let people know you care, that you're thinking about them. People need that in order to work successfully, especially in different circumstances. So that could mean like having a daily call or a call twice a week where everyone just checks in, just to make sure everyone's fine, see what people are dealing with, give your team an opportunity to vent, express what's frustrating them, what they're afraid of, what they're concerned about. The more you can get people to talk and you keep it a safe environment, it will help people feel that they are not really isolated, even though they're physically not in the same office as you are. So that's definitely one of the things that you want to make a concerted effort to do. More than ever right now, you've got to lead. You have to lead. You have to be the one who's leading by example. You have to be the one that models out how to be positive in the face of a lot of negativity. If people are at home, they might have the news channel in the background, and that news channel in the background is putting out a lot of discouraging content. And so you have to combat that in order to keep your people on track. That's one of the things, Mike, that I think it's going to be really important to do.
What about your opinion on a Zoom or any kind of webinar style happy hour? Almost like a social one. I know I'm in a couple of groups where I've noticed, my gym group specifically, we had a happy hour last night. Everyone did, bring your own bottle, and it was fun. You had your own drink at home, so there was no cost, no risk of drinking and driving, no DWIs. You're with about 20 other people having fun. Some of the other groups I'm in, networking is happening more because now it's been, hey, we're going to do a Zoom virtual networking. So instead of trying to get up at 7:30 for a paid, say, I'm not going to say any names of those 7 o'clock in the morning groups, it's, hey, I'll roll out of bed and pretend I got a shirt on and I don't worry about makeup and hair. But it's fun. You got people literally keeping a regimen of 7:30. We're going to meet once a week until this is over, and we're going to figure out how to make people get business. So what is your experience or your opinion on the social happy hours or the networking happy hours via Zoom?
That's so great, Mike. One of the things that's happening, and this is obviously COVID-19 is just a terrible thing. At the same time, the reality is people are now connecting with people that they haven't connected to before. They're making it very intentional to appreciate people. They're making it very targeted to support people. And so going back to the examples you mentioned, Eleni Sokos, she's the owner of Sokos Social, a marketing company here in Lakewood Ranch. And what she has started doing is she's having these half-hour happy hours, or happy half hour. There you go, happy half hour. And so she's connecting and allowing people to connect for half an hour once a week. And it's been terrific because I've now met people in her world, people all over the world, and it provides a way to connect and talk about what I'm dealing with, what I'm facing. It's gives me an opportunity to hear what other people are. And it's surprisingly therapeutic. And in the face of all this social isolation, it's something that I think is very, very important to do. Another example is I have friends of mine, Lee and Jackie Prock. We're talking about connecting. And what they have designed is they have created a way for families to really connect, and it's a very creative way that the way they're doing this. So in a typical home in America, if you have 5 people there, 5 people on 5 different screens. One of the kids is on Xbox, Mortal Kombat. Another kid's on Instagram. Another kid's on, I don't know, Facebook. Parents are on their own thing. So people are still doing the, there's not a lot of interaction there, which is fine. I'm not commenting on that. But the reason I mention that is this: what Lee and Jackie Prock did, and they're business consultants, they're entrepreneurs. What they did is they created this way for families to Zoom each other. So get this. So one family does a Zoom call with another family, and then on the call, they have a scavenger hunt. So the first person to find a picture of what they look like when they're 1 year old, puts in front of the camera, they win. First person to get a bottle of Purell, put on the camera, they win. First bottle to get a roll of toilet paper, put on the camera, they win. So it just gets everyone involved, everyone's moving around, and it's a great, phenomenal way for families to, first of all, interact with each other. And in addition to that, it's now an opportunity for families to interact with other families. Dr. Chip, who is a pastor of my church, Grace, Sarasota, talk about an innovator. This pastor is just crushing it. What he's doing to help with the social isolation is he is actually going to people's homes. Okay, it's less than 10 people. Everyone is 6 feet apart, so it's a small group. And he's having Sunday service at someone's home, and they film it. So now you can watch this service, and it doesn't look like he's in an auditorium like in a church building or in his own study. He's actually in someone's home, and you can kind of see the people sitting, just a few people there. And it really gives you this, gives me this experience of I'm actually in a home church, because that's where he is, and he's streaming into my home. And he actually calls it home streaming. So isn't that innovative? I mean, it's just such a great thing. How people are innovating and coming up with ways to connect. This is so important. My friend Joe Broccoli did a Zoom meeting. He called it Zoom 101. His company put it on, and people were invited to come, and he was explaining, really breaking down how to use Zoom. Zoom is a technology that we're using in this meeting here. He said something that really stuck with me. He said, look, we're dealing, and I'm butchering the quote, but here's the point I want. We're dealing with this COVID-19 coronavirus, and we're dealing with it like Americans. I love that. I love that. I grew up overseas, so I just have a special relationship with this country. And he said, we're working hard, we're innovating, we're coming up with new and creative ideas, and we are going to get through this. Todd Saylor, another friend of mine, he has been through the 9/11. He's still here. He went through 2008. He's still here. He's got several companies, 500 employees. He is successfully leading his company through this. So people are leading, they are taking initiative, they're coming up with really interesting ways to make a difference for the people that they're responsible for. Hey, Mike, can we change gears? I want to talk about what some business people are doing with technology, but I'll let you go ahead and comment on what we said so far, and then we can go to the next phase.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks. The big thing I want to even go back to is you're either scared, hiding, and you're depressed watching TV all day, or you're the other side of this where you're going to be innovative. You're going to innovate your way out of this. So a lot of business owners are finding creative ways, like the restaurants, and even you got some teenagers in the neighborhood say, you know what, I got a bike, I'm going to help some people out. So they're maybe getting some groceries for people that are homebound. They're actually going and delivering just delivery food. Delivery drivers are hiring immediately. Sarasota specifically, you go down 41, people are actually hiring. And even people that have the essential jobs, everyone's gotten a raise. I almost want to go back to the environmental stats they used to put out saying we're killing the environment. If everyone would just not drive for a week, we would save the planet. I want to see if anybody has those stats. If you know those stats, leave them in the comments, because everyone stopped driving for a week. Let's see if anything did get reduced. I'd love to look that up. But I want to even go back and talk to technology, going back to how people innovate out. lots of people are addicted to the phone, but now they're using the phone for business. Now I'm going to ask you two sets of questions. If you're going to do a phone for business, you go on iPhone or Android?
Yeah. So if you're doing it, so just to make sure I'm clear, it's your personal phone, and now having to use your personal phone for business as well. Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, it's more of like a preference. Is it if you have any iPhone versus Android? There's not necessarily better or worse, but is there some advantages to an iPhone versus some advantages to a Android phone?
Yeah.
Then
So
I'm going to
great.
ask you about the desktop versus laptop and a couple other softwares.
Okay, excellent. Yeah, thanks, Mike. I think that's useful. So, in a situation like this, the best phone for you is a phone that you have right now. So what I mean by that is you're comfortable with the phone you have. I myself am an Android user. I know Mike has an iPhone. People love the type of phone that they're attached to. But regardless of the phone that you're using, there's some software that you can use to make the connection between business and personal a little clearer while you're working at home. So what I mean by that, if you're calling customers from home, you're likely using your phone. That's going to potentially create some confusion or issues in terms of organizing those communications down the road, because you're not getting personal calls on your cell phone, and if you don't handle it right, it could become confusing. Your greeting on your cell phone when people call might not be appropriate to business, and I think people are understanding about that. But here are some quick things you can do. Number one, you can go to GoDaddy.com. GoDaddy.com. I mean, there are other companies that do this, but GoDaddy makes it really simple. You can get a second line for your existing cell phone, and you can get that. It's very inexpensive. They even have some promos on it. So you go to GoDaddy.com, you get the second line, you attach that second line to your phone, and when you call people, not only does the caller ID show up correctly, where they're seeing the non-personal number, but when they call back, you can have separate voicemail, separate greeting for that. So that's number one. Now that's not a free option, but that is definitely an option. Another option is Google Voice. So with Google Voice, you can actually go on Google Voice for free, and with your Gmail, you can create a phone number, and that phone number is a number that you can make and receive calls from. So that's another option. So the important thing is you want to make it easier for your customers to get hold of you, and you want to make it easy for you to keep your business life and your home life, even though it's all working from home right now, separated best you can. And so that's definitely one way to do that. To answer your question whether iPhone and Android are different, at this point, with regard to phone calls, in my view, they handle it the same way. There's one other thing that I would encourage you to try as well. If you're getting a lot of phone calls, keeping track of those voicemails can be tough. And the last thing you want someone to hear when they call is, sorry, you cannot leave a message because that person's voicemail is full. So you don't want that to happen. So you want to either stay on top of it by clearing your voicemail, or for a few dollars, you can get from your phone provider a service where voicemails are then archived, so you always have space, so no one ever hears your voicemail is full type of message. In addition to that, you can also set it up where the voicemail is transcribed. So that's easy to go through your voicemail. So when someone leaves a message, you can actually read their voicemail on your phone without having to listen to the voicemail. So those are a couple of options and things that you can do in terms of managing your voicemail at home. Mike?
Okay, that great answers. I guess if we had some Apple people, they would say, well, the Apple does all this stuff. The only thing I like with the Apple is the AirDrop, but that only works if you have a MacBook. So for the people that don't have one, that's why I like the Android a little better, because Bluetooth works across the board. So I guess if you're stuck at home, you don't have this choice. But if I have an option of using my desktop or my laptop, what should I use? And specifically, I want to bring this up. Gamers that had a business job, they are in the best position. So if you're employing anybody that's a gamer, they're set up probably better than your office. The gamers have the top desktops, the fastest everything, a million terabytes of a number that hasn't even been invented yet. That's how much space they have. They have the good chairs. They have the extra pointing devices, light up keyboards. So I guess I would almost, if I'm a business owner, I would start looking for gamers to hire.
Well,
But
they
going back
literally
to that, what would you recommend, a desktop or a laptop? But again, that was just my personal opinion. I'd rather go find a gamer and have them do some work at home.
Well, they certainly have the equipment. They're certainly used to communicating remotely. They're very good at multitasking. But on a serious note, anything that you can do to kind of let the steam off. So if it's gaming, great. Allow some time during your day because you're working from home to do something that you enjoy, to kind of just kind of unwind from all of this Corona TMI, too much information. It can get overwhelming. Another thing, something that I started doing, is I really made a point to sleep more. So at the end of the day, my body's resistance is going to be really, really important, my immune system. And so I did an interview with Dr. Shilpa Saxena, a really smart doctor who's a specialist in both Western traditional medicine and also Eastern medicine, combining the two. And so she really impressed upon me the importance of make sure that my own body is got enough resistance and got a good healthy immune system. So playing, letting off steam, like Mike opened up here with the gaming. I started going to sleep earlier so I can make sure I got as much sleep. I like to try and get 8 hours of sleep if I can. Have success in being able to do it all the time. I've been eating healthy oranges, salads, drinking a lot of water, and also my daughter inspired me. And now I'm also going outdoors to exercise. I can't go to the gym, so I started running. Running outside is so much more difficult for me than on treadmill. But I'm doing those kinds of things, and I encourage you to take personal responsibility for your own health. It's so important that you build your body up in terms of your body's immune system, so that if you get exposed to someone with the virus, your body has an opportunity to resist it. Because exposure, as I learned from Dr. Saxena, exposure does not mean infection. And so you want that. So gaming, Mike, yeah, like you said, very productive. You got a lot of technology, very smart people. But for everybody, even if you're not a gamer, take your health seriously and take this opportunity to really make sure that you're building up your immune system as best you can. Mike?
Okay, let's go back to business for a moment. So I'm shut down. I'm a service provider, but I'm not an essential. I can't take calls from my office right now. What should I do to my website to start booking appointments online or through Messenger or some kind of a chat product? What do you recommend that, just say your local emergency plumber, maybe your emergency electrician, they maybe can't take a call. Maybe their calls aren't getting forward, or their staff is all at home. So that call center, that 10 people to answer the phone, they're all in different places. So I would say, can you give somebody an internet option to start booking appointments?
Yeah, that's so great. So important now more than ever. You want to make sure that the public can get hold of you with ease and not limited to them having to call you or send you an email. So a couple of things that you can do there. The first thing is make sure your website is optimized for mobile. So this is really critical. So when I say optimized for mobile, the amount of people, especially now, that are interacting with your business on their mobile device, we don't even have the numbers yet, but it's probably higher than it's been for. The stats that you see on the screen here are a little old, but now with coronavirus and everyone being at home, not everyone has a computer that they can use for like they could before, where they had the desktop computer and they had the home computer. Now people are using their mobile devices in larger ways. Verizon is an example of a company that's recognizing that. I automatically got a notification that Verizon has upped my bandwidth for data. I didn't even ask for it, but they just did that. They're trying to do their part to support the community. So mobile is important. So when they come to your website, make sure that your website has been optimized for mobile. Now I'm going to go over 4 things here. I want to also mention this. I want to get. We actually have a sponsor, and this sponsor is willing to provide a limited amount of this technology for you as a business for free. So if you need any of these things and you don't have a way to actually get it incorporated, you can get it incorporated for free at no charge. So mobile is the first thing. The second thing, and let me go back here. There we go. The second thing, in addition to make sure your website is optimized for mobile, is the thing that Mike was talking about. How do they get on your calendar? Folks, do not rely on people calling you or emailing you to get on calendar, because if you do that, you're going to make it more difficult for them. And there's so many more powerful ways to do that. I'm going to show you this one here. So this one here is Scott Carbon. And Scott is an expert SEO company here. I have to move over there. And you can see from his website over there that Scott Carbon has a schedule some time with me button. He added this to his website. So now if I want to get hold of Scott, what I do is I actually will click on that button. It'll open up a calendar, and that calendar shows me when Scott's available. And I can just book the time with him. It's super easy, super convenient. And he's not the only one. This company here is PestGuard Commercial Services. They are the area's most premier pest control company, and they're my client. So I'm a little biased there. But PestGuard, the folks at PestGuard, are so dedicated to make it easy for their customers to interact with them that they have this kind of calendar view right on their website. So if you want to schedule a call and you don't want to leave voice messages, or you want a service request, you just go on this page here, you click on the time that works for you, and you get a notification confirming your call. They get a notification. As soon as you've done that, their calendar is blocked off, so no one will double book. This is the type of thing, if you do not have this for yourself and you're a tax professional, or you're a lawyer, or you're providing services to people and you're not making it easy for them to get on your calendar, then you're really you're not serving yourself as you do that. This technology is easy to do, and if you don't have it set up, remember we have sponsors who will create that for you business at no charge. A couple other things we can get into here is payment, right? So how do you get paid? This is another important part. You can't rely on people coming into your business anymore and making payments. That we have to make it easy for them to make payments online and make payments on mobile. So that's going to be really important. So let me just recap so far. Make it easy for them to get on the calendar, make it easy for them to navigate you on their mobile device, and make it easy for them to pay you. Now, I want to say with that in just a second. Actually, to some other news of mine, I want to talk about this thing that happened yesterday with this $2 trillion aid package. We're going to talk about that in just a minute. But Mike, any comments on what we talked about so far?
We're going to probably go a little slower. Just the sounds a little bit choppy. So I guess everyone's on the internet right now doing their own lives.
Okay. You got it. I can hear you well, Mike.
All right. So I guess next time we'll just talk a little slower, let the stream catch up. So you went over a couple of softwares. What about payment? How am I getting paid if I'm at home?
So when you talk about getting paid when you're at home, so when we look at the screen that I have right there, the software has become so simple to implement. So let's take an example. Let's say I'm a tax guy, because I'm a CPA, so I can relate to that a little bit. I can still do that work remotely. People can send me the information. I can do their monthly financial statements. I can do their quarterly statements. I can answer any questions that they have. Instead of sending out an invoice and that whole process, now we got people that are concerned about the mail that comes in. Implement a payment online on your website. And the way that works is, as soon as you provided the service, the customer can receive an email from you. When they click on that email, a screen shows up where they can put their credit card information in, hit pay, and the money is automatically pulled from your customer's credit card and it's deposited into your account. And so if you haven't been using online payments in the past, It may be something that is kind of new territory for you. It may be something that you're unaccustomed to, particularly if you're really in the world of mailing out invoices and getting payments that way by mail. But I want to show you, this is a very reliable way to get paid. Amazon, the world's biggest retailer, this is how they get paid. Walmart, this is how they get paid. Office Depot, this is how they get paid. So if all these big companies are using online payments, payments on mobile with ease, and it's profitable for them, shouldn't you be doing the same thing as well? Shouldn't you be using that kind of technology to bring a level of convenience to your customers and at the same time increase cash flow for yourself? So that's how that works. It's so simple. The caveat I want to mention is oftentimes the provider that's making this happen for you will deposit the money in your account 2 to 3 days later. So customer pays on Monday, it may show up in your account Wednesday or Thursday. So you just want to plan for that delay. But think about how easy it makes it for the client, for your customer, right? So that's a very effective way to do it. We can talk more about that, but does that give a sense, Mike, to the question you asked?
Yes, I actually want to add to that, if I may. If you're having a money issue, there's a couple of options. If you have the opportunity to either call up the clients that are still in good shape, ask for a prepayment in lieu of a discount so you get some now money now. Or if you're in a bad spot, maybe you can actually extend payment plans. Maybe you can do a net 90 on something big. A Hyundai, they did that way back in the day when the first recession came around. People get Hyundai cars. They said there was a job assurance. They're doing it again for the other COVID-19 assurance plan. So take advantage of what the big companies are doing. Offer the net 90 payment plans. Offer maybe if you're doing 6 months, maybe you do 18 months payment plan and make it nice and low so everybody gets it. But you'll have the ability to take money in. And I said, if you call up any kind of accounts payable, call those people up and say, hey, if you can pay this in full now or pay it in 2 payments, I'm going to give you a huge discount. So people that are making the money now might say, you know what, I'd love to save money. Let me get rid of this bill. So that's another way to get money in.
It's so great you mentioned that. And when you, as a business owner, listen to what Mike said, keep something in mind. Everyone knows where everyone's having a hard time. Everyone knows that people are innovating. People are so supportive. So if you don't ask, like Ninja Mike suggested, you're losing out, because there might be people out there who will respond favorably to the request that Mike said. Let me give you, when I say supportive, let me give you another example. I mentioned PestCard earlier. What a phenomenal company there. What they're doing there is they are now offering their customers to defer payment. So PestCard is still going to provide service. And now PestCard, they're a very large local company, but they're not a public company. And so here you have a company owner that says, look, what can we do to work together? And so this is pretty historic, but they're not going to continue to provide service. They're letting people defer the payments. Another example, this is from my first Million podcast, which is a phenomenal, very inspiring podcast that I listened to. One of the things they said there is, customers, this is unsolicited. I just want you to get a sense, with all of the stuff that you hear on the news, the real story here is how people are voluntarily from the grassroots level emerging and demonstrating leadership. Here's what they're doing. Customers are going to their favorite local restaurants and pre-purchasing gift cards. They're buying gift cards ahead of time because they know that actually will inject cash into their local business that they're patroning. It'll help the business, and they'll get the value on the backside. So the importance of asking, like Ninja Mike said, you got to ask, you got to innovate, you got to think outside the box. Todd Saylor, very successful businessman and a friend of mine, he says this: you have got to approach this differently. Don't follow the crowd. He has a book, phenomenal book I mentioned before, another podcast called Wired Differently. And if you're not listening to Todd Saylor, find him on Facebook. He's got some excellent stuff. In fact, Mike, on another broadcast, you know what I'd like to do? I would just love to actually play some of Todd's talks right here on the podcast. It's so encouraging, so inspiring. But Todd has this phrase, and he says, you have got to attack this problem, and you've got to attack it differently from everyone else. So you want to take that coaching from Mike here and really think outside the box. Mike? Oh, you know,
yeah. Before we do anything for Todd, let's pause for Todd. Before we do anything with Todd, I want to stay on this money topic.
Okay.
You are CPA. What happened about all that money the government's going to give these businesses? What do you recommend they should do with that? Or do you know anything about it? I know there's millions of dollars getting sent to local businesses. So if you want to talk about that, if you know anything about it, if not, you can go right to Todd. But I'm not sure. Oh, look at that! You just happened up.
That's great. No, it's perfect. So
that worked out.
Yeah, worked out. Good segue. So if you probably heard a $2 trillion financial package got signed by the president on Friday. And of that 800 billion, I mean, who knows exactly the accounting of this, but according to ABC News, of that 800 billion is for business support, as you can see right there in that snapshot from ABC News. So why am I mentioning this? Look, you want to get ahead of this. Don't let this be another toilet paper, hand sanitizer deal for you as a business owner. And what I mean by that is this. Every business owner that's impacted by this is going to be scrambling to get the hold of their CPA, get hold of their accountant, get the information together. There are forms that you have to fill that includes financial information. Let me rephrase that. Likely, there'll be forms that you have to fill. If we look at how Florida handled this, Florida made interest-free loans available to businesses through the Small Business Administration. And as part of that application process, you had forms that you had to fill out, tax returns that you had to provide. And so if you are not a bean counter like me, you might be relying on your accountant or your CPA to get this done, as will every other small business owner. So what you want to avoid is you want to avoid calling your CPA and CPA says, sorry, we're 3 weeks backed up because we're having to create this package for everyone else. So get hold of your CPA accountant early. Get on the calendar now if you're planning on taking advantage of the stimulus package here. And also, we're actually in the process of putting together a group of trusted, reputable local CPAs and accountants. So if you run into a problem or you need that resource, I want you to message us here on this channel or go to healthybusinessbureau.org, put your information there. The more people that apply, if you're interested in that, then that'll give the people I'm speaking with motivation to really coordinate and organize so that we can make that resource available to you. Again, you want to make sure your tax returns are in order, your finances are in order. Likely, you may have to document the losses that you're experiencing as a result of COVID-19. And so that means you really got to have that well documented in your financial statements. There's some smart consultants out here that are, if you're not following them, again, message us. You contact us at healthybusinessbureau.org. But one of the things that I saw one of these consultants say, which makes a lot of sense, is on your accounting system, create a set of accounts that just are responsible for COVID-19 expenses. You've had to deal with moving people at home. You've had to deal with whatever you've had to deal with as a result of COVID-19. In addition to the losses, you want to start tracking them, because if you are looking to take advantage of this package here that the government is looking to do, likely you want to have your numbers in order. Now, most importantly, what I also want to mention is this: if this is of interest to you, my software company, I can create a wizard that'll actually help you get this information in the right order. So if enough of you out there make that request, then I'll actually create this wizard. It doesn't make sense for me to do it for 1 or 2 people, because I want to make it available for you guys free, and I have to pay my developer. So the more people that want it, that'll use it, then the more incentivized I am to have my developers put that together. So again, if you're looking to take advantage of this stimulus package, get on it early. Don't get caught like we got a lot of us caught with the toilet paper Purell situation. But Mike, I appreciate you asking that question. I think that's going to be really, really important in the next couple of weeks.
All right, so there's your your thing of the day is get an accountant lined up immediately. Maybe that goes into that prepayment. Maybe you prepay your accountant, or you could ask your accountant to give you a net 90 or a net 120, so you don't have to pay them right away.
Yeah.
So either way, you got to try to book that now. So I guess if you know accountants, again, send them over to Raj so we can make that. I guess are you? Is it safe to say you're going to try to make the next Uber for accountants?
Yeah, that is very safe to say. And I clicked on something here.
Either way, you got to try to book that now.
Yeah.
I guess if you know accountants, again, send them over to Raj so we can make that. I guess are you because it's. Oh, there's your top takeaways. I got one more for the website. As a website developer, would you recommend people immediately call their website person and get a COVID-19 message like you'll see on these a lot of big sites? Is that recommended? Everyone should do that right now?
That's so great, Mike. Here's what you want to be thinking of with your website developer, with your company in general is now's the time you got to be in more communication with your customers. Now is not the time to withdraw yourself. Now's the time if you haven't emailed your customers, now's the time you got to do that. If you haven't made a change on your website, now's the time you want to do that as well. And what I mean by that is you want to make sure that people that you've interacted with before know that you're still there. It's not necessarily a time for you to try and sell. I mean, that depends on your business. But the important thing here is in addition to any sales messages you have, please do yourself a service by letting your customers know that you're taking steps to make sure your business continues. You're taking steps to keep your employees safe. You're taking steps to make sure that you're able to service your customers. And so that's an important step that you want to do, and you want to do that with intentionality, and you want to do it frequently. So the ways you can do that is you can go to your website, have your web developer put a message right on your homepage about COVID-19. Another way you can do that is send an email out. You can use programs like MailChimp, which are free for up to 2,000 people. And after that, it's a nominal fee. But if you haven't had an email campaign, now's the time to do that. Look, I'm so glad Mike talked about that. Life's not going to go back to exactly the way it was after all of this is done. People are going to have a fresh appreciation for working from home. Businesses that have ramped up will now be much more savvy on how to connect with their customers digitally. That's just happening automatically. So what you want to do is you want to be proactive. You want to take the opportunity right here, right now, to be on that bandwagon of connecting with your business, your customers digitally. You can do that through email. You can do it through the website like Mike talked about. You can do that through Facebook. You can do it through Instagram. There are a number of platforms that you can take advantage of, and now is the time that you want to do that. Going back to PestGuard, one of the things that they are doing is they are asking their team to take pictures of work that they're doing and taking those pictures and posting it online. Why? Because that gives a way for customers to connect back with PestGuard in a way through visuals, through images. People love that, through video and images. So take advantage of that. And I think, Mike, that's really an important thing to do. I'm glad you asked that question.
Yeah, I appreciate all the information. Again, we're here to keep local business open for business. So as requested, send Raj some accountant leads. Let's get that, your local group, get them together to remind people, share this video, or at least tell them that they should be getting accountants lined up immediately, because that's the way you're going to get your money back. So before we end this, it's right around that 8 o'clock mark. Anything else you want to say before we cut this off?
Yeah, so great. So if you're catching the tail end of this, I want to recap the takeaways. And so what you want to do is you want to make sure that your website is optimized for mobile, because people more than ever are interacting with your website on mobile. In addition to that, you also want to make sure that people can schedule time with you. They're doing this over the phone. They're doing the video conferencing. You want to make sure you can do that easily. And these are examples of how other companies are making it easy for the public to schedule time to interact, whether it's a voicemail or a service call. You also want to make sure that you're able to take payments, not just online, but on people's mobile devices. And if you're struggling with any of that, and you're dealing with a situation where you need to do it but you can't, you don't have the money to get it implemented, we actually have a sponsor who will implement one of those functions for up to 5 organizations. So if that's of interest to you, please message us here, comment here, or go to healthybusinessbureau.org and take advantage of that offer. The last thing I want to mention, which is so important, and that is the stimulus package that came. Make sure you get on top of that. If you don't have an accountant, if you have an accountant, get on the calendar now, because the calendar is likely to get full up. If you don't have an accountant, message here or go to healthybusinessbureau.org and contact us there. We are assembling a group of trusted local professionals, CPAs and bookkeepers and accountants that can provide and help provide that for you. And lastly, as a software developer, if you're interested, we can create a wizard. Our company can create a wizard that will actually help you and guide you through the process of applying for some of that $800 billion that is likely to be available to help businesses. But we need to hear from you. If you like this video, share it with the people in your life, and let us know how this was. If there's a topic that you didn't hear that you'd like to know more of, please message us, and we'd love to hear back from you. Mike, thank you, man. This has been great. I really couldn't have done this without you. Thanks.
Thank you, Raj. Again, make the comments of what you want to see. And we're going to probably do a completely separate one. If you're okay with that, let's do a separate one on how to get the stimulus money. I think that would be a good webinar to host for people. And then let's go one specifically on how to use Zoom.
Great idea.
Mike, Raj Doraisamy, thanks for watching.
Have a good one. Bye-bye.